What is going on, students? My name is Kaiser. I'm the middle school director here, and we're so excited that you're tuning in with us today. If this is your first time, I just want to say welcome. We're so excited that you're here, and we hope you enjoy our stream today, and you'll stick around to the end and hop into a small group with us. And hey, if you're a high schooler and you're watching this right now, at 4 o'clock, that's like 50 minutes from now, at 4 o'clock at the church, you guys are going to be meeting up here for a high school hangout. There's going to be, your friends are going to be there. There's going to be some great music. There's going to be some food going on. Joe Dillon is actually going to be grilling some hot dogs, I think, for you guys. So if you're a high school student, and hey, that doesn't mean that you just finished 8th grade, right? Because we haven't done move up yet. So current, if you just were in high school, 9th to 12th grade, meet at the parking lot at 4 o'clock. This afternoon. You don't want to miss out on that. Middle schoolers, I know what you're thinking. What are we going to do for you? Well, hey, you're going to stick around on this stream, but in a couple weeks, really soon, we got something planned for you guys, and we can't wait to tell you all about it later. But guys, I'm super excited for today. We're going to have a great time together, and to kick it off, I want you guys to check out this awesome video.
What's up, students? It's Grayson and Kaiser, and we are going to be playing What's in the Box, but there's a twist. What's the twist, Kaiser?
We're going to your house. We're going to show up at your front door. You're going to play the game. It's going to be amazing. And hey, if we didn't come to your house, let us know and we'll come there and we'll play a game with you. Are you ready, Grayson?
Dude, I'm ready. Let's go.
Let's do it. I'm gonna tell you, man, things may feel a little weird, they may move. Nothing's gonna bite you too hard, so you'll be good. All right, are you nervous?
A little.
A little?
A little.
Hey, it's okay, but here's the thing. You gotta stick your hands in there. You can't look in there, but you gotta tell us what you think it is. All right? We're gonna do 3 rounds. This is the first round. All right? All right. So put your hands in.
It's a Twizzler?
It is a Twizzler. It is a Twizzler. You can eat that if you want.
Get it? All right, cool. We didn't touch it
Or you didn't touch
at
it?
all, not even once.
Way to go.
Awesome. All right, you guys are 1-5.
All right, Ro. Round 2. I'll get in there. Like, figure out what.
Okay, so that.
Can we tell you what it is?
This is jam?
No.
What is it?
It's Beckham's poopy diaper.
Oh, it's chocolate, okay? Hold on. Alright, it's chocolate, right?
Bro, it's Beckham's poopy diaper.
Yeah, it's chocolate. Alright. Hold on 1 second. Alright. Huh. I don't know. Hold on. Something. Can I open it? Yeah. Oh, it's a hot dog.
No,
Is it a hot dog?
It's not a hot dog.
Keep opening it. See, figure it out. Is it like a sandwich? Like a chicken sandwich?
Hey, yeah, it's
Is that
chicken
it?
biscuit.
Chicken biscuit?
Chicken biscuit from Chick-fil-A.
Nice.
Breakfast is on us. Thanks for playing, Rowan.
Thank you for the chicken biscuit. It's worth it.
All right, Maddie, you can't look in the box. You have to put your hands in there and just feel.
Alright.
Oh, what's that? Tell us what it is. What do you think it is?
A plant of some sort.
A plant? You were close with the plant.
Yeah.
It's in the ground. Any idea?
Squash. I don't know.
It was close. It was a sweet potato. You wouldn't have got that? All right, we're gonna go get the second. All right, Maddie. What's in the box?
Ew.
Put your other hand in there. I can try to help you. What does it feel like?
Baby food?
Oh, it has something to do with the baby.
A diaper?
It's Beckham's diaper.
Ew. Is it really?
Yeah. Just take a look in the box.
Ew. Oh, that's gross.
You're probably
Partially.
partially nervous. Oh, hold on. Okay. What's in the box, Maddie?
A burger or something? Chick-fil-A something? I don't know.
Is that what you think it is?
A sandwich of some sort.
Unwrap it, yeah, unwrap it. Gotta get down to the bottom.
A Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich or something.
You're close enough to chicken biscuit from Chick-fil-A.
Guess what?
Yours.
It's yours.
With poop all over it now.
Oh, it's not my fault you didn't wash your hands. Yeah, but
Guys, I hope you guys enjoyed that video. I love the look on some of their faces when they realized that they thought they were touching my son's poopy diaper. But hey, if you enjoyed that and you want us to come to your house to play a game with you, in the description of this video, there's a link below to where you can go in, give us your name, your address, and your contact information so we can come to your house to play a game with you that may end up on the stream at a later date. Also, if you're not following us on Instagram yet, go ahead and give us a follow. Right here, we have @JourneyTransit and @InsideOutRVA. They're gonna be here. I'll probably said them wrong. It's been a long time, guys, that we've been in this thing doing social media. I'm so sorry, but they're gonna be right here. Just go follow us on Instagram. It's gonna be awesome. But hey, we're actually starting week 2 of our series, What to Do When You Don't Know What to Do. And we're bringing someone on that you guys may know, you may not know him. He's a near and dear friend. His name is Joe Dillon. So guys, check out this conversation I had with Joe.
So, when you don't know how to do something, how to fix something, or how something works, what do? Ask a teacher? Ask your parents? Ask your friends? Ask someone you really know and trust? No, you go to the internet and ask some randos. But I'm not talking about creeps here, I hope. No, I mean the people of the internet! You know, those people who make how-to videos. Because chances are, if you're trying to figure out something, someone on the internet has already figured it out for you. Things like, how do I unsend a text? No. How do I do a winged eyeliner? How do I get rid of the zit by Friday night? How do I get out of gym class? How do I screen cap Snapchat without getting caught? They'll never know. But then there are things in life that don't have an easy fix, that don't have a simple solution, that don't have a how-to video. Things like what to do when you have problems with family, or when it seems like you have no control in your life, or what to do when someone has done something to you. I mean, clearly, they gotta go. The truth is, there's a lot of life that doesn't have a solution you can just find online. So how do you know what to do when you don't know what to do?
What is going on, everyone? I'm here with Joe. How you doing, Joe?
I'm great. How are you? How's everyone else doing out there?
Man, I'm doing good. Thank you for asking, Joe. Guys, we're here for week 2 of what to do when you don't know what to do. We started the series a couple weeks ago with Matt Neely, but then we pivoted to just do a 2-week series called More Than a Hashtag, where we talked about racism and injustice that was happening, and things just happening in our world today, in our nation today, and how we as a church should respond to it and how we can respond to those things. So if you missed that series, go back and check it out. We pivoted from that. We're back into week 2 now. We're coming back to what to do when you don't know what to do. And guys, if you haven't met Joe, you guys need to. Joe's an awesome guy. Joe is our production guy. You run student ministry essentially. Like, you make sure we look good, you make sure we sound good, you make sure things don't explode.
I tried to.
Yeah. But guys, Joe's the one behind the camera during this time that we're filming. He's the one that runs our live streams during the coronavirus. Like, he just makes sure student ministry is happening during this season. So guys, go ahead and give Joe like a thumbs up in the chat or something. Let Joe know how much we love him. Joe, thank you so much for all that you do, because a lot of it goes unseen. But I'm so excited that you're here with us today. We get to have a conversation about week 2 of what to do when you don't know what to do. And I think one of the biggest things, I just wanted to start off with this question. I'm a big texter. I like texting. I'm a big emoji guy when I'm texting. I use like the praying hands, the praise hands, the okay fingers, the thumbs up. Like, if the hands and the fingers and the emojis, all that, I'm there all day. I'd use it. Yeah. But Joe, for you, what are your most top used emojis?
Well, probably my most used is the laughing tear face. It's one I use all the time. It probably makes its way into, let's say, 100% of my text conversations. You know, you're not sure if the person's crying or laughing. They're probably laughing so hard they're crying.
Yeah.
Anytime we're sending memes or GIFs, it's always going to make its way into the conversation. I just love it.
So that's your number one. That's your first use.
For sure.
And I believe you, because I've received that many times from you.
Yes.
So okay, that's your number one. What's your second one? What is the second one you use the most?
Well, the second one I probably use most often is the green face. And it usually describes, you know, like a bad smell, or maybe you ate something and you're sick. You know, and I'm a little sensitive to smells. So, you know, you're driving down 95 past some of the factories in Chesterfield. Green face. Just took off my shoes after a long day of work. Green face. Or Grayson, who's actually running the camera right now, took off his shoes earlier. And green face. Like, some smells are too gross for words, so you just have to use the green face. That's
like the sick face.
Yes.
And normally I partner that one with like the guy that's like throwing up the green stuff.
Yes.
Like, it's always like the smelly green face guy with the guy who's throwing up. Do you have like one more? Like, is there another one that you use that you throw in the mix? Or are you just a 2 emoji guy?
Well, the sad face with the tear streaming down. You know, sometimes you don't really know what to say, and someone gives you some bad information, like, hey, I found an animal up the road and it was hurt, or I just had a hard day and, you know, it wasn't very good.
Yeah.
So instead of trying to send them a long message that doesn't really mean anything, you just send them a tear face and sort of let them know you're there with them.
Yeah. I think that's so cool about emojis, though, is that they say so much, but you don't have to send a lot with it. You don't have to text a lot with it. They help us to kind of talk about how we feel with our words and stuff, right?
Right, absolutely. They allow us to sort of express ourselves in that sort of middle area where we don't really know what to say, but we know we should say something.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. And a few emojis that like I don't often use, but I think make a big impact, Joe, I'll call them like the shocked emojis. Yeah. Like, you know the ones I'm talking about? You guys probably know the ones we're talking about. It's like the ones with like the big eyes and the big mouth, has the big eyebrows. Like, it's just that one you send, like when someone sends you some like earth-shattering news.
Yeah.
It's just like, boom, there it is. And you have no words to respond to this except for like, you know, you could say like, I'm shook. Like, but it's more that emoji. Like, I feel like pictures say they paint 1,000 words. Emojis could paint like 1,000 words too, I feel like, right?
Right.
And so you'll send that one, but it's like, we're shocked. And there's no telling what it could be. Like, someone could send you anything and it could just shake you. But Joe, I have a question. Have you ever experienced anything in your life that sometimes simply just rocked your world, caught you off guard, made you feel uncertain, or caused a lot of pain or hurt?
Yeah, absolutely. When I graduated high school and left for college, I thought it was going to be the time of my life. What ended up being the reality both made me feel shocked and probably the green face emoji at the same time. I experienced social anxiety in a whole new way, and it almost caused me to fail out of school. It damaged some relationships with friends that I had, but luckily my family and friends helped me, and with patience and hard work, I was able to sort of overcome some of those fears. But maybe you felt this way when you got the news that your parents were splitting up, even though you had no idea that things were bad. Maybe you had a friend had something mean to say to you, and maybe they accidentally sent a text to you that was supposed to be for somebody else, and you saw something you weren't supposed to. Maybe you felt this way when your mom or dad told you that they were changing jobs and you had to move to a new city. Maybe you felt this way when you experienced an injury at the beginning of a sports season. There's all sorts of things that can bring on these anxious feelings and these feelings of not knowing what to do.
Yeah. And unfortunately, Joe, that list can just go on and on for a long time. And the examples that we can say, man, we could write a book about how many things that can make us feel shocked or all these things. But the thing about these shockingly painful moments is they often hit us out of nowhere. They come out of nowhere, and the reason that they come out of nowhere, we don't really know, but we also don't know how we can respond to that. We don't know how we should feel in these times as well. So I think shock sometimes is like the default that happens,
Yeah, no, it's true. Sometimes we just don't know what's going on. But other times we can surprise ourselves with how well we handle it. We could think, wow, I figured this news was going to take me to the edge. This was it. I'm coming to you, Jesus. This is the end. This is where it ends. And oftentimes we find when we ask ourselves, why am I so upset about this? It brings us calm. And when we bring our problems to God, it can help us feel even better about what's going on. Sometimes we need God close to us. Sometimes when bad things happen, we may even think that God isn't there with us, but he is.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's because we're all wired differently, right? Because the way God wired you and the way God wired me is completely separate, right? So the way you will respond to a situation will probably be really different than most of other people, how they would respond. Yeah. Right? And that's why we're in the series, what to do when you don't know what to do. When those shocking moments happen in your life, when things just, go crazy and you don't know what to do, what's one thing we can rest assured on? And I think you said it a little bit, is that, God is with us in those times. And we are going through this series, we're going through the story of the life of a guy named Joseph. And we left off with Matt talking about Joseph had some family issues, to say the least, right? He was his dad's favorite. He made sure his brothers knew it. And then he turned to his brothers and was like, hey, guys, just so you know, I had a dream that I'm better than you, right? And you're going to bow down and worship me because I'm cream of the crop,
How well would that go over with one of your brothers or sisters?
It would start a fist fight immediately. And that's the crazy part of it. And so we're kind of picking up the conversation of what happened to Joseph and in his life right now, because there are times where he just didn't know what to do. And so I think this is a great time for us to start talking about and picking up where we left off with how his brothers responded to all his kind of actions and what he was doing.
Sure. Yeah, as you can imagine, his brothers were not okay with him being his dad's favorite. And they were not okay with him sharing his dreams of him ruling over them one day. So their response really isn't all that surprising, but it ended up being pretty extreme.
Yeah.
And in Genesis chapter 37, verse 18, it says, "But they saw him in the distance, and before he reached them, they plotted to kill him."
Joe, that went from 0 to 100 real quick.
Yeah.
Like, his brothers saw him off. They're like, hey, there's Joseph. You know what we're going to do? We're going to kill him.
Yeah, absolutely. And it goes on in the verse to say, here comes that dreamer, they said to each other. Come now, let's kill him and throw him into one of these cisterns and say that a ferocious animal devoured him. Then we'll see what comes of his dreams. Despite his anger towards Joseph, one of his brothers actually had a conscience in the moment.
It was Reuben, wasn't it?
It was Reuben.
It was Reuben.
Of course it was Reuben. And it goes on to say, when Reuben heard this, he tried to rescue him from their hands. Let's not take his life, he said. Don't shed any blood. Throw him into this cistern here in the wilderness, but don't lay a hand on him. Reuben said this to rescue him from them and take him back to his father. Thank goodness for Reuben, right?
Yes.
You know, he was able to convince his brothers to throw Joseph into the well instead of going all homicidal on him.
Yeah.
And he even planned to come back later to rescue Joseph. And the brothers listened to Reuben. And when Joseph approached, they ripped off the special coat his father had given him, and they threw it into the well.
Can you imagine if you were Joseph in that moment, you had a phone, like, what would you text your friends? Like, you would use a shocked face emoji and you'd be like, yo guys, my brothers are savages. They're trying to kill me right now. Like, oh my gosh, my brother just tore up my jacket. They threw me in the well, shocked face emoji, like 20 of them, send it to your friends. Like that's what Joseph would have done.
Well, and he might have sent that, but he should have waited a little bit longer because they're still not really done with him. See, they noticed a caravan of traders approaching. Judah, another one of Joseph's many brothers, suggests that they sell Joseph to these traders. After all, selling Joseph to a group of people would really make sure that he would go away and endure a whole life of servitude. So that's exactly what they do. They dip Joseph's coat into the blood of a wild animal. They take it to their father, and they tell him that Joseph was likely attacked and killed by an animal. What a cover story.
So Joe, just make sure I'm got everything correct here. Joseph was coming to his brothers. His brothers were already mad at him. They said, hey, let's kill the guy. Reuben stepped up, being the good brother. The one with the conscience was like, hey guys, let's not kill him. Instead, let's throw him into the well and just tell dad that an animal killed him. And then Judah, being Judah, was like, hey guys, we threw him in the well, but we can make some money off of him.
Right.
So we're gonna sell him into slavery, and then we're going to take his robe that dad gave him, cover it in blood, bring it back to dad and be like, hey dad, he's dead, dude. Like your son, your favorite son. Can you imagine, like that's what they said. Like they went back and said, hey, your son, not my brother, right? It went like, our brother, your son died. And sorry, right?
Right.
Like, 'cause there's a lot of just shocked face emojis happening in this story right now.
Yeah, and then they even wanted to take responsibility off of themselves.
Yeah.
It was more than just they wanted him gone. They didn't want people to know that they were responsible. In Genesis, it goes on to say, they took the ornate robe back to their father and said, we found this. Examine it to see whether it is your son's robe. They knew it was his robe, and they still wanted to pretend like they weren't involved.
So if you're Joseph, what do you even do, right?
Right.
You can't even unsell yourself.
Right.
So this is clearly one of those moments in Joseph's life about what to do when you don't know what to do.
Absolutely. And, our stories might be different than Joseph's, but we all experience some kind of pain.
Yeah.
And we all have scary, maybe even dangerous moments that catch us off guard. And when these moments don't make sense and we don't have the words to process what's happening, we have to look to God. Unfortunately for Joseph, though, he had more shocking moments in his future, and you'll hear about those in the next couple weeks. But I wanted to highlight 5 powerful words that show up in the historical account of his life. Well, they didn't keep him from getting thrown into a pit, and they didn't keep him from getting sold. These 5 words literally made the difference and helped Joseph, maybe more than anything else. In Genesis, it says, the Lord was with Joseph. And Joseph didn't have a lot going for him in the pit, and even less afterwards. But when Joseph was in despair and wondering how life would turn out, he could rely on a single truth, And it's the same truth that you and I can rely on, and that's God is with us. God was with him. This truth didn't change the reality of the situation.
It's good.
And even in the moment, it might have been tough for him to feel better about it, but it's always better than being alone. And it's a truth that we can all use to help ourselves get through difficult situations, especially when we don't know what to do.
Yeah. And what's so great about that is the truth didn't mean that Joseph could see where he was going, right? Like Joseph was in despair. He was sold into slavery. He was thrown in the pit. But like you said, Joe, the entire time that was happening in Joseph's life, the Lord was with Joseph. And this truth didn't mean that Joseph could easily deal with things that happened to him, right? Because we're all going to struggle. We're all going to have these things. But the truth remained the same, that he wasn't by himself, that Jesus, that God was with him the entire time, through the good and through the bad.
Yeah, for sure. And that's the bottom line for today. And honestly, it's kind of the bottom line for every day. When there's nothing you can do, God is with you. When life hands you shocking news and you don't know what to do, God is with you. Truthfully, we hear that all the time. And maybe it starts to lose some of its meaning. Maybe we don't believe it as much every day. But God is with you. Not in the same, some abstract way or, literally God is with you. God is a part of you. Yeah. God is all around us. And we got to look to him when we're in difficult times, especially when we don't know what to do.
And what I love about that is it changes our perspective on our situations. Knowing that God is with you, no matter what you face, will change your perspective on any situation that may come your way, any obstacle, any challenges that you face. Knowing that God is with you may not change your circumstances, but it might just change you though, right? Like you could look at something and go, man, that's big, but I know God is with me so we can tackle it together. I can handle that. And it give you enough hope, hopefully, for you to keep going on to what God has called you to the life God's called you to live. Because I think it could have been so easy for Joseph in those moments, Joe, I think you would agree, that he could have just sat in the well and had a little pity potty. A pity potty, pity potty.
Well, he might have been so scared he was having a pity potty.
Yeah,
you never know.
But no, what I was trying to say is a pity party, right? He was trying to have, he could just have been there and just self-loathing. He got sold into slavery. He could I can't get myself unsold. Mm-hmm. But knowing that that God was with him could bring hope to a hopeless circumstance.
That's true. It's true. It's easy for us to give into the hurt we've experienced. It's easy to let fear overwhelm us or let anger consume us. We have a lot of reasons to let difficult and sometimes unfair situations get the last word. But when we know that God is with us, the uncertainty of life doesn't get the last word. God does.
That's good. That's good. So the question I have for this, as we're kind of wrapping up, is what does it actually look like for us, Joe? Like, there's not like a formula or easy answer to get us through the hard times, but what are things that we can do to maybe prepare ourselves for when hard times come? Or if we are in hard times, if you're going through a hard time right now, what can people do who are watching, who are going through a hard time right now? What can they take from this?
Yeah. The first thing, be real. Feel your feelings. Not everyone will experience the same ups and downs in life, but we're all likely to experience pain. All throughout the Bible, people went through difficulties, and there are many accounts of them being real and honest with God about their struggles.
Yeah.
There are no simple solutions to make the hard times go away, and our job isn't to just suck it up and act like everything is okay. We believe that God is with us, then we should know that God is more than okay with our honest questions, doubts, fears, and anything else that we have to bring to him.
Yeah. Joe, can I stop you real quick? Because I like what you said there. Because this is something that I personally deal with sometimes is the fact that we have to be real about our feelings. Like for me, guys, it's really easy for me sometimes just to say, I'm just gonna suck it up and be a man, right?
Right.
But when you do that, sometimes you suppress the feelings that are actually there.
Right.
And if you're not honest with yourself, how can you be honest with God and others?
Right.
Right?
Right.
So I didn't mean to cut you off, but I just want to say, I don't want to blow over that point and miss that.
No, it's good. And that really ties into the second thing that I would say. And that's, you have to remind yourself every day, constantly, as often as you need to, and each other, that God is with you. And here's a spoiler alert. Things did eventually work out for Joseph, but we know that because we can read the whole story in the Bible. But when Joseph was in it, he didn't know how it would turn out. He didn't know how this was gonna all unfold, but he knew that God was with him. And in those moments when life is the toughest, that's when you need to remind yourself that God is with you. That's when it's the most important.
Yeah. And I think it's good, like even in the hard times, your story isn't over, right? You, like you said, like we know everything worked out for Joseph because we can read the whole story. But in that moment, Joseph didn't know, but he trusted God, which was really cool. But guys, as you guys probably have already realized, life is gonna have a lot of moments that are up and down. We don't know what's gonna happen, but there's one thing that I do know, is that God is with you. We are here too. We're here for you. And guess what? Your small group is here for you as well. And as we are wrapping up today, we encourage you guys, if you're not in a small group, you haven't hopped into a small group yet, go ahead and hop into your small group, have a conversation, and just share some experiences about times that maybe have shocked you, have shook you a little bit. And as you have a great conversation with you and your small group, we love you guys. We'll see you later. Joe, do you have anything that you want to add at the very end here, but before anyone hops into small groups?
The only thing is, it's important for us in a time like this to tell each other that we love each other and to really demonstrate God's love. And that can mean all sorts of different things. Sometimes that's just listening. Sometimes that's letting somebody know that you're available to listen if they need you. God is love, so we should be loved too. And when you don't know what to do, the best thing to do is to turn to God and to turn to love. And I hope you guys are able to really get a lot out of your small groups today. And I guess we'll see you next week.
Yeah, guys, we'll see you next week. Thank you, guys. Have a good one.